Oh, I got it.
Good morning, Mike.
Happy Saturday. Welcome to the No Hissy Fit Zone.
Hey, I see you got some stuff on your chin there. What's going on?
Trying to come up with a fan. You know what happened? A couple weeks ago, I don't know what, I had some scab or something under my chin and I must have like shaved it off. And it became quite this like cut that was trying to heal.
Yeah.
So then I started to try to shave around it each day. And I'm like, well, I used to have this a couple of years ago. So I thought I'll just grow this thing back and then let the thing heal, which it did beautifully because it was left alone. I'm not really sure what to do.
Looks good.
Well, that's a vote for the yes column.
So Andrea's restaurant on Route 9 in Southborough?
Andrea's Restaurant, Route 9 in Southborough. This was here 28 years ago when you moved. Is that what you're referring to?
Well, see, when I was in the 70s, I guess, me and a bunch of friends, on November 1st, we'd stop shaving, right? And then we wouldn't shave. Then we wouldn't shave until April 1st.
No way.
But the idea was that we'd go to Andrews for lunch, and everybody would shave as funny as you could come up with something. And whoever laughed first had to buy lunch for everybody.
Laughed?
Whoever laughed first, yeah. So,
Hold on. So November, you stopped shaving. November, December, January, February, March, and April. So May 1st, you're at the restaurant?
No, April 1st.
April, so 5 months later,
Yeah.
you guys must have looked like animals.
Well, I mean, some guys would let them grow some with trim, but here's the deal. When we shaved, you get as creative as possible. Maybe half a beard on this side and half a mustache on this side, or stripes or dots, whatever you can come up with, right? It was so funny, man.
Hold on. So did you shave at home and then meet at the restaurant?
Yeah.
I pictured you a group of animals in some booth going into the bathroom with their razor blade, shaving in the bathroom and coming back out.
We'd shave at home and then we go to work, in the morning with everybody. But, a bunch of us would start October 1st, I'm sorry. And then some of them would go a week or two, then they'd shave it, they couldn't, deal with it. It was just so funny.
That's tremendous. I love that story. That's what you're talking the 70s. It's probably not more than, I don't know, 10 years ago, I started hearing about this no shave-ember.
Right, that's it.
There was a cause to it. I'm not sure it was. I'm sure it was some important cause. Some, I don't know, disease or ailment. I don't know what the origin was, but I've known a couple of guys who do it just for the month of November.
So you don't think that my cause was worthwhile?
Oh, no, I think your cause was outstanding. Listen, I know what you and I will do for a free lunch. Come on.
So when I moved to Phoenix, right, I ended up being a restaurant manager for a long time. And I had a beard, right? So on a Friday night, we had about 55-minute wait in the lobby there. So there's all kinds of people, and So this one guy, I was helping the hostess, with the seating and stuff, and I was, checking the list and stuff. This guy comes up to me, and I never saw this guy in my life. He goes right up to me, and he goes, grabs my beard, and he goes, "Hey, are you the owner of this place?" And he's grabbing my beard, right? I said, No. He says, "Well, you must be the manager," but he's still grabbing my beard. "You must be the manager." I said, "Yes, I am." He goes, "Okay, I want to let you know that there's no toilet paper in the bathroom." That was funny, man.
It's 3 minutes in, you got me twice already. That's amazing.
Oh boy.
Oh my goodness. I was pulling some stuff together. I got a presentation I'm doing next week, Tuesday the 26th, for a local bank. And so I prepare and I kind of over prepare. You just reminded me, I forgot to make a cup of coffee for our podcast. I might do it as we go. And so yesterday I actually had like the projector set up with the laptop, the clicker, and I was going through the whole presentation out loud. And I'm doing some of the research on some different pieces. With the quotes. There's 2 quotes, well, a bunch of quotes, but there's 2 I thought we talked about today, because part of my talk is about our human potential and what we're capable of doing and how why do we get in our own way and stuff we've talked about for years. I'd never heard this quote from Jim Rohn before. It says, every life form seems to strive to its maximum except human beings.
Wow.
Wow is right. And I got thinking about, I think all of us, and even probably our viewers and listeners, are trying to just have their best day every day, continue to just get out of the comfort zone and do what you got to do. Mahatma Gandhi, listen to this one. The difference between what we do and what we are capable of doing would suffice to solve most of the world's problems.
Wow.
If we're trying to be our best selves all the time, that has an effect on our community around us. It touches other people's lives, and that can continue to go and go. And they talk about, I want to change the world, and start with yourself and who you're contacting. It's fascinating. I love those two quotes.
That's awesome. So I want to share something with you because I'm super excited about this.
Oh, good.
I got a call not too long ago from these guys that said, hey, we caught your comedy thing on YouTube and we watched all your videos 3 times. I said, what? So they're going
Like,
on,
I got you now.
huh?
You're like, I got you now. If you watched everything 3 times, you're in.
Oh, so they said they want to get together and talk to me, So we're going to be in Tampa Bay and we want to get together with you. So we set up a time to go have a coffee or whatever. I'm wondering why these guys were so interested in talking to me. They said
Local guys to you, you're in your area?
Yeah, they weren't from the area, but they were coming to the area, so they wanted to get together with me.
Yeah,
So come to find out, they're actually hooked up with Dias. I says, why do you want to talk to me? He says, well, we're connected with entertainment, we do a lot of stuff with HBO and stuff. So I says, okay, so I went over to talk to them. These guys were really into it. They knew some of my jokes they were repeating my jokes, so they obviously watched it a few times. And then, long story short, I ended up signing a contract with HBO.
Is that right?
Oh, it's totally amazing. So here's how it works. I pay them $14.95 a month, and I get to watch all their movies. I get to watch HBO Music, HBO Films, HBO Sports, everything.
It's a good contract.
And now Cinemax and what's the other one? Showtime. We're doing like a package deal.
Wow.
Things are good, aren't they?
If you had $3.99 a month, you could pick up Disney Plus also.
Oh boy. Boom.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Oh, I think last time we did this, I was looking out my window thinking, man, I got a lot of work to do in the yard. And I still got a lot of work to do in the yard. My goodness.
How's that trench that you dug for the water pipe?
Yeah, so they just made all these divots, and I got tread marks with bulldozers. So what I really need is like a truckload of soil dropped, and I could just respread it and kind of plant some new grass. But in the meantime, I've got a decent pond in front of the house. I got to get moved out because they're transplanting rose bushes next week in front of the house, because I got a big one coming next Friday. I've been wanting to do this for years. Abrevieties are those 4-foot green trees that grow pretty quick, and if you do them in a row, they can kind of build like a wall of green if you just kind of sculpt them that way. On my side yard where the gig was, there's a fence going up. It's about 100 feet up, and there's an ugly lot next door. And so I'm doing a row of 25 abrevieties next Friday. And to do that, we're pulling out rose bushes to move them. So I'll be out in the yard again today and knocking some stuff around, having some fun.
So Terry and I were driving to Tarpon Springs the other day to go to.
I've heard of that, Tarpon Springs. How far is that from you?
15 minutes.
Not bad.
So the main thing is it's like a Greek town. It's like a. They call it the. I don't know what they call it now. Sponge docks.
Were you going for like a meal, or was it like a festival going on?
No, we're actually going to a meal. But I drove by this guy that is a barber that I went to one time years ago. I was doing some real estate up there, and I sold some properties, and I had some time to kill. I went to get a haircut. So I sit in his chair, and I'm trying to tell him what I want to do. I said, now listen, on this side here I have some cowlicks, so if you go too short, the hair kind of doesn't go back like the way I like to do it. So he says to me, what do you do for a living? I said, I'm a realtor. He goes, listen, I wouldn't teach you how to sell a house. Now you don't need to teach me how to cut hair. I know how to cut hair. I just thought that was a little rude, so I said, listen. So I'm a realtor, but I wouldn't show you a 5-bedroom house if you wanted a 2-bedroom condo. I'd want to find out what you want, and I'd show you what you needed.
I see what you did there.
I said, I'm trying to tell you how I want my hair cut, and if you don't want to do that, just take the cape off, and I'll go someplace else. It's not a big deal. And then he started getting a little huffy. He says, okay, take the cape off. He says, no, I said, no, take the cape off. I'm walking out with a cape. If you want it, take it off. If you don't, I'm leaving with a cape. I'll be driving down the street with a cape like this. So he took it off and says, you don't need to be rude, man. I came here as a potential customer to get a haircut, and you treated me like I'm worthy of something. I don't know, just get somebody else's hair.
That's a true story. That really happened?
Yeah, that really happened. So see this card right here?
Yeah.
You might appreciate this. Terry went to change her phone because I guess some of the 3G phones aren't going to work anymore this month or next month. So she went to buy a phone that's 5G. And the guy that was the manager at the T-Mobile store, the corporate store in Palm Harbor, one of the other guys that was helping us said, so I showed that guy what my pride and joy and stuff. And I showed him a couple other jokes. He says, oh man, you might not believe this, but I actually do. I'm a comedian, I says, yeah, I've done some of that too. He goes, yeah, really? I says, what do you do? So I got his card and I looked him up on YouTube. The guy is very, very funny, number one. He's got all kinds of videos. He's got one video that has 3.5 million views.
You're kidding me.
No, but he's really good.
Got his card right there?
Well, this is a card for the T-Mobile, not for the comedy.
Okay. But that's the same guy. That's his name?
His name, yeah, is Ron Hortman. R-A-N.
I was going to say, should we give him a plug? I guess you just did. Ron.
Yeah, but spell Ron.
R-A-H-N. Ron Hortman.
So he does a routine. He does a little routine
on YouTube
about
and you'll find him.
He does a routine about his name Ron. His mother was like tripping. He said because people think it's Rahan. They don't know how to pronounce it. But the guy's really funny. I was very impressed.
Rahan, R-A-H-N, Hortman, H-O-R-T-M-A-N.
Yeah, check him out. You'll like him.
I'll check him out. I know this already. He's no Tony Cabral, but
no,
I'll give him a shot.
The thing
Try to
was,
support that.
he was impressed when I told him that I already lost 20 pounds this month. He was very impressed.
Did he suggest where you look for your dumbbells, or?
I had 2 10-pound dumbbells. I can't find them anywhere. Wow.
Oh, you just tickled yourself, aren't you?
So at my age now, I have other people at my age that, we get together with for coffee or whatever. And 2 of the guys I was with, one was saying, man, when I need to go to the bathroom in the morning, just number one, it just takes so long, and it's like just the little drips and stuff takes so long, and it hurts. The other guy says, yeah, well, when I go to do number 2, I have to kind of hold on to the walls because it's almost, So then they said, how about you? I says, no, 7 o'clock in the morning, it's like the fire hose opened up. 7:30, it's like a volcano. I mean, I have no problems at all. I said, but you guys don't even know what the problem is. And they said, well, what's your problem? I said, my problem is I never get up till 8. Oh boy,
That's funny.
but they were telling me that they're living in a nursing home now.
The what?
These guys are living in a nursing home.
Oh.
Their wives and stuff. And I guess the wives are getting frustrated because they're always over there playing dominoes and cards, and they don't pay attention to their wives. So one of them said, "Hey, let's fix this." So they go into the closet, in the lobby there, where the guys are playing cards. They took all their clothes off. And then they walked over the table that they're playing, they had this small table where they're playing dominoes. They walked right over the table, right between them, see if they could get their attention. One guy goes, what the heck was that? Was that Sally and Mary? He says, yeah, I think so. What the heck were they wearing? The other guy says, I don't know, but it sure needed ironing. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
You're on a roll today.
On a roll. I showed you my picture about on a roll, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Maybe I should share that with the people.
We should share that if you can pull that off. Can you get to it?
Yeah, let me
Bring
see.
it, hold your phone up.
Let me see if I can do it here. Hold on now. So this came about one time because I was sharing some funny stuff with a guy texting with one of my friends, and I had a bunch of guys. He said, "Man, you're on a roll today." I said, "Yes, I am." So I sent him this. You probably can't see it.
You on a roll. I love it. There it is.
I put my picture on a roll of toilet paper.
Use of technology. I've always been a little techie phobic. I'm proud of myself this week. I actually had a friend of mine from work. She kind of laid out how easy it is to build a PowerPoint in Microsoft. And I had a PowerPoint presentation built in this other, I don't know, operating software that she'd never heard. She's like, what is this? I go, I don't know. Somebody put it on here and she referred to it as ghetto PowerPoint. I'm like, and it just wasn't friendly. So she showed me PowerPoint and Microsoft. I go, it sounds like I should transfer everything over. I'm adding a whole new piece into my presentation about how everything we've ever experienced is all in our brain and it's all in there in terms of our memories. It's a really fun time. It's gonna, it's all like 70s TV commercial jingles and stuff. So I had a bunch of new things to add in. So that night, in about a half an hour, I transferred over my PowerPoint to Microsoft PowerPoint, which is much more accessible, and put all the new stuff in there. And I got my whole new PowerPoint done. And I was like, wow. I mean, like most things in my life, if I get overwhelmed with it, I tend to just walk away and not deal with it. And when I finally tackle it, it's always easier than when I built it up to be.
Right.
I'm like, this is amazing. So I feel good about that.
Good for you.
Little PowerPoint.
You're never too late to earn, right? I mean, never too late to learn.
Another quote from this week, notes I was taking. Maybe it's not here. It's never too late to be what you might have been. Never too late to be what you might have been. Like you signing your HBO contract. You've been telling jokes for years, and now you finally got a contract with HBO. That's huge.
Yeah, no, Showtime and
they're coming.
And Cinemax, they want to do a package deal.
Why wouldn't they?
Why wouldn't they? I know.
Hey, so I'm coming to you. This is my kitchen. I think I'm here most weeks. And you're not going to recognize this place here in a couple of months because I'm doing a whole kitchen remodel.
Are you?
Yeah, I really am. So I had the contractors here yesterday. I got a building permit in the window, and sometime in about a month, I'll start to destroy this place and build it all out again. The problem is that door right there. This is the door to have too many openings in this kitchen to make it work. Coming off, gonna have a different entrance, and we'll have all cabinetry, and it's gonna be nice.
You can also go to Amazon, right, and buy one of those trifold things like a divider that you put behind you, and nobody will see that. I bought one time. Mine was supposed to be like a green screen, whatever you call it, so I could put stuff on there, but it just worked out, so I sent it back.
So you're suggesting instead of doing a kitchen remodel, I just buy a new kitchen backdrop and hold it behind me and say, everybody, hey, look at this?
Well, you're saying that you have a contractor, but I got to check the contract that we have to see if he can do that, to change your background without permission.
So here's a funny story. I was talking to this guy yesterday. I said, I'm a little anxious. Let me show you this. I know all the stuff's coming off the walls. So that will work. If you guys don't care if I start to take the crowbar to these walls before you get, they're going to rip it all out anyway. They go, no, whatever you want to do. So I was talking to Lynn. I said, I kind of want to take this down and see what's in there. What do you think? She goes, rodents. And I was thinking like gold bullion. So we got different ideas about what might be in the wall. But this guy, give his first name, Joe, the contractor, he's very open about being in recovery. He's clean and sober like 11 years. It's an amazing story. And he's as well helping other people in recovery. It's spectacular. So he's been clean a long time. He pulled out his phone as I told him that story. He starts scrolling through these pictures and he goes, look at this. Actually starts with, I'm in recovery, right? And I go, yeah. But now I'm like, now what's he gonna show me? And they had pulled a wall out, and behind the window, there were like 3 bags of drugs, like white powder, I'm assuming cocaine. And I'm like, wow, what was that like for you when you suddenly got this in your hands? And he went right to his coworker, and he said something like, look at this, you think the devil's trying to invite me back into his lair with this? And he dropped it on the ground and mushed it with his boot into the sawdust and got rid of it. But crazy story.
Wow.
And when that was the second time, that's why he wanted to get, the first time it happened, he was in the town of Webster, and they found a bunch of drugs in a wall. And he's like, I didn't really want to throw them in the dumpster next door. There's a bunch of kids running around, so they call the police. Right? So the police show up. And he's like, all right, so, I'll take this. And this guy, Joe, says to him, the cop didn't know his background. He says, well, that's crack cocaine right there in the bag. And we got this other stuff. And the cop says, how do you know that's crack cocaine? And Joe says, how do I know it's crack cocaine? I can tell you where it's from just by looking at it. Pretty funny. And we had a laugh about, like, if they just decided to drive to the police station with it, and imagine getting pulled over on the way to the police, and they go, these are my drugs in the car. Well, no, really, I'm on my way to the police station right now to turn them in. Oh my goodness.
So I don't know if I told you, I've already gone 90 days without a drink.
90 days.
I mean, not in a row. I'm so fortunate because I've had a lot of friends over the years that had the problems with drinking and drugs and stuff, and
Yeah.
I've never had a problem. I don't drink much, and when I do, it's very little. I don't think I've been drunk in like probably 5 years or more. I just don't. It's not my thing.
Yeah. I hear you. I think the older we get, it's like, that's not a desire. Like, ugh, I hate being that out of control and sick, and then you feel lousy. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Which is very different for me than a couple glasses of wine, not in a row.
Not in a row.
Oh my goodness. So here we are. Yesterday was Good Friday. Tomorrow's Easter Sunday. Lots of beautiful things in the social media threads about all sorts of, the saddest day and the greatest day are 3 days apart. And it's only Friday, but Sunday's coming. It's nice. Easter weekend. So
when we were kids, back in the Azores and the island of Santa Maria, we played this game for Easter, before Easter. It's called Bellament. I don't know what that means, but it was just, so you sign up the rules of the guys you're going to be playing with. And so the first one that said to the other one, Bellament, got a point, right? And sometimes we'd hide in the bushes, so when they come out of the house, we go, Bellament, when you get them, whatever. But then whoever had the most points for Easter, you'd get a little bag of candy-coated almonds.
Nice.
Right? And for us back then, I mean, that was a big deal for us back then. There was no candies and stuff like that. So, come to America, and of course, nobody did it here anymore. A few years ago, I started calling some of my friends in the beginning of April. I'd say, hey, Bellament. I'd say, what the heck? So they say, where'd that come from? He says, you remember? He says, yeah, but I haven't heard that in like 30 years or more. He says, yeah, so I started doing that, right? And then we go back and forth, and then some of them would actually send me a little bag of candy-coated almonds or whatever, because I won. But this year, I didn't start doing it in April. I just did it just the other day because Good Friday was coming up. So, oh man, I forgot about doing it. So I called some of them up. One of the guys says, Bellament, he goes, hey, you haven't called me all month. I says, I'm still winning. I got one, you have nothing. Right? So it's so funny that we do it because they're all surprised that I remembered to do that. It's just amazing.
It's all in there.
The mind is all in here. It's like,
it's all in there. What
did Torsty used to say? If you have the right trigger mechanism, you can actually bring back a memory in your mind from whenever. Everything still is in there somewhere, somehow.
It's amazing. It's all in there. In fact, I do this whole talk about the brain, and I talk about the 10% conscious mind and the 90% subconscious mind. Like the iceberg is the good analogy there. I start dinging on my end over here. I gotta shut that down. But I talk about the subconscious being a database, and everything that's ever happened to you, event-wise, emotions, it's all in there. And so he's talking about a trigger to bring it forward. I just think it's interesting when sometimes some memory just comes into your conscious mind, like, where is that coming from? Who knows? But like, why did I remember that just now?
Yeah.
And 22,000 things happened that day. Why do I remember that? So it's an interesting thing.
So, you know, I call my mother every day. She's 92 now. She's going to be 93 next week,
Wow. What's your birthday?
April 23rd.
It's my kid's birthday. My twins are going to be 29 next Saturday, right? 23rd.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't know that.
Wow. So she's very forgetful in present time. Like,
All right.
I'll be talking to her and she'll say, so how are your boys today? I said, oh, they're doing good. She says, where are they at? I said, well, Eric's in California and Josh is in Norway. She goes, oh, that's far away. They're far away from each other. They're not together anymore. Of course, they haven't been together because they lived together for a while.
They're 5 and 7, right? Yeah.
Then she'll ask me how the weather is and stuff. And I'll tell her how the weather is. She goes, hey, so where your boys are at? I just finished telling her that, but she asked me again.
Right.
And I can say, I just told you, Mom, but I don't do that. I just answer the question every time she asks it. But if we're talking about something that happened 30 years ago, she
Amazing.
remembers all the details. It's amazing to me.
It's amazing. My mom was always really either good at or we enjoyed the conversations about political campaigns all the way back and who ran against who and who lost, and
Yeah.
who was the vice president candidate. When she was kind of, you know, she ended the last year and a half of her life at a dementia unit in a nursing home, which in her situation, there was just really no quality of life there. But before she went in, she was dealing with a lot of dementia at home, and we were all together, and we'd have these, you know, she couldn't tell you what she had for breakfast, but I started talking about who ran in 1972, and she's right on it.
Oh, yeah.
Fascinating.
Isn't that crazy?
And I hear this story from lots of people. It's a fairly common thing, I think. Goodness.
So I always say, I may have Alzheimer's, but at least I don't have Alzheimer's.
Wow.
That's not even funny.
I'm sure my mom is laughing at that right now.
Wow.
Either that or she's cursing you left and right. Who knows?
I think I told you this before. When we were in the Azores, you know, when we lived there, there's a small portion of the island that I'm from that had electricity and indoor plumbing and stuff, but the rest of it didn't. So my father had a little convenience store, not convenience store, like a general store. And he had a phone, but nobody had telephones, but because he had a store, he had a phone.
Right.
And the phone number was 8. I know, it sounds funny, but it's true.
I'm not sure why that hit me so funny.
Yeah, because there's no.
What's your number? 8.
So if somebody wanted to make a call or something, they had to come over. Like if you want to call somebody in another portion of the island or in another island, or call somebody in the States, they'd have to go there, and he would have to dial the operator. Say, hey, I have Michael Copperwhite here. He wants to make a call. Here's the number. You'd have to sit there and wait for about 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes before the call was connected, so you could talk to the people you wanted to call. That's crazy, right? So
8.
one time my father had to go to near the airport up there with there's some supplies he had to buy for the store. So he asked my mother to watch the store. So she goes over and watches the store. She had never, you know, she didn't do that, but she's there. While she's at the store, she tells me the story about the phone rang, and she had no idea what to do. She got scared when the phone rang, but she had no idea what to do, so she never answered it. Right? So then, as I told you, I call her just every day. I call her. So now she's 92. I'm talking to her one day. She goes, "Hey Tony, hold on, I got somebody on the other line," and she clicks over to talk to somebody else on the other line. Right?
Call away in.
So she gets back on the phone and I says, "Man, woman, you've come a long, long way." She goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "You told me that story about that store where you couldn't even answer the phone because you were so scared, and I'm calling you long distance from Florida, and you put me on hold to talk to somebody in Hudson. You've come a long way." She started laughing. She goes, "Wow, that is funny." She said, "I'm sorry." I said, "No, it's okay. I think it's funny actually. You've come that far, you know." And
that is a riot. So my dad worked for New York Telephone his whole life, and then of course became 9X, which I never realized that was 9X was the New England Exchange. I didn't know that until he told me. Then of course became Verizon. He got a pension he retired in 86, I want to say, and he had a pension from Verizon until last June.
oh,
So a couple Christmases ago, I got him an iPhone for Christmas. Because he sees us and the kids, and we're, you know, today's lives are lived on our phones. So I got him an iPhone, And my hope was that he would start, he could text his grandchildren and play some games and call me. And boy, he never got the iPhone understanding,
Yeah.
He would like try to push the thing too long, and I was trying to see, it's too hard to do it this much. And then one day he lost it. I don't know. He came home, he had a walker, and he came home from breakfast. He's like, "Where's my phone?" We start checking pockets, and we start checking couches and chairs, and never did find that thing.
Wow.
Still paying for it, actually. I'm still making installments on his phone. But for a guy who worked for the phone company, sure couldn't figure out the technology piece. Oh, that's too funny.
That's funny, isn't it?
Ugh.
Oh, some of these kids with the phones, they know more stuff than we do.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh.
So what's going on today? Lunch?
I was going to ask you, I've had a dream car for a lot of years. Like, I know what it is, very specific about it, color, et cetera, et cetera. Scrolling through Facebook the other day, and there's a guy who I must be friends with, and we have Facebook friends we don't know, right? So I don't know the guy. I know his name because he comes through my feed, and he lives in my town, and he's selling my dream car.
Wow.
Color, the whole deal. And I'm like, so I thought, I'm not ready, but I gotta keep the flame alive of the dream. You gotta keep that dream going. So I called him yesterday, and I'm gonna go look at that car this morning.
Oh, nice. Good for you.
He's literally 5 minutes from here, so I'll get up there about 11:30 and take a look. My friend Joe, Joe, is all over. He's like, "You got to do this," and I'm like, I learned a lot just having a conversation, because I found he's like pushing, and I'm thinking like, no. And it finally came down to, he said, "Listen, if there was a guy in my town selling my dream car and it checked all the boxes, I would consider it." And I go, "You know what? You just hit the nail on the head. It's got to check all the boxes, because it's a dream I don't want to settle for." And I guess my expectation was, I don't expect this to check all the boxes, but I'm going to go check it out and keep the dream alive. And
Well, hold on. I just got 7 texts from our viewers.
oh,
They want to know what the car is.
they do?
Yeah.
Only 7. I should wait for about 25 requests, and I'll drop it. Come on, people. If you want to text Tony right now, if you know what the car is. What are we up to now? How many?
Go on. Oh, we're up to 12.
All right. So Ford, this is so funny because people are like Lamborghinis and all these fancy cars. And so Ford remade the Ford Thunderbird from 02 to 05.
Yeah.
And obviously not enough people liked it because they made it for 4 years and stopped. I love this car. And so I think this is an 03 Ford Thunderbird, white, and we'll go check it out. I'm usually not too far from a picture of it because I got one around all the time. But, it's funny, you got to get specific about the whole thing, and it can really kind of drive you. Pardon the pun.
So I forget what year it was, but when I was I was a sales manager at a Ford dealership in Marlboro.
Marlboro Ford?
Yeah.
Oh, was I not supposed to say that? You're going to say something bad about them?
No.
Well, they're not a sponsor anyway. Don't worry about it.
But they had a 35th anniversary Thunderbird model that came out that year.
Mm-hmm.
And it had the special engine and stuff and dual
35th, that would have been 1990?
No, I don't know. It was before that.
Okay.
Anyway, the owner of the dealership drove one as his demo. He had almost 4,000 miles on it, so then he retired it and I put it in the showroom. It was one of those cars that there wasn't too many available and people wanted them. So this guy came in and says, "Hey, I found out you guys I called the Ford or whatever, you guys have one of those 25th anniversary, I forget what it is. But he wanted to buy it." He says, "Well, we have one right here, sir." So he gets in and he says, "It's got over 4,000 miles." I said, "Yeah, the owner drove it for a while." So he says, "Oh, so it's a demo. I should be able to get a good deal on that." I says, No. These cars are very, very, there's high demand for them. There's not enough available. You know, if you're looking. So people are buying these for above MSRP, above asking price. He says, "Well, I will never pay a penny over asking price." I says, "Well, I'm just saying if you want it, this is what it is." So then he pulled up his Consumer Reports thing with cars, cost and stuff, and how much dealers should make and this and that. And I was, yeah, but that's not the situation. This is a car that's very, very desirable. A lot of people want it, but they don't exist. This one was just put in the showroom. It'll probably be gone this week for sure because people know that it's available. They're going to be coming here.
Right.
Well, it's a demo. I says, well, see. Then I had to. He was being kind of a. He started to be a little bit of a turkey. So I says, but this is not a demo. This is a Ford evaluation vehicle. He said, what does that mean? I said, well, if you were Ford and you had a vehicle that was coming down the production line and you knew that was going to be an evaluation vehicle, at every inspection area, what would you think it would have to be? He says, it would have to be perfect. I said, right. So this is a Ford evaluation vehicle. So we're selling those for above asking prices. I would never pay a penny above asking price. I say, well, maybe I can get it to you for asking price because it's got a few miles on it, but that's much I can do. So he's trying to beat me up to sell it to him for below my cost, and he ended up buying it at full price.
I was going to say, he just told you twice, I'm willing to pay asking price.
Yeah, he says, I would never pay one penny over price. I says, okay, I can get it to you for price. That's it. And he bought it.
And you were the hero on the floor that week. Wow.
Well, I was always kind to people and respect people, but if they were turkeys to me, sometimes I knew how to get back to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's
I had a young lady that was going to school at Fitchburg College. She was from New York, and she was looking for a Ford Escort GT. It was a little sporty one. And she came to the dealership there, and they didn't exist. I mean, there's very few. So I did a search for her, and she was in college, so I got her financing approved. There was a rebate for college students that I didn't have to give it to, but I gave the rebate for the college students for Ford Motor Credit. Then for me to get that car, I had to change a Mustang GT for an Escort GT, and the Mustang GT was much more profitable for us than the GT. I mean the Escort. So, but I did a trade for her and stuff, and then she came in to go get the car, and her father from New York shows up that day with her, and now he was there to beat me up on price.
right.
I said, sir, let me explain something to you. Your daughter came in, she was looking for a car, she's here alone, and I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but I treated her like I would want somebody to treat my child like that, and I found the car she wanted. I had to do a transfer, and I gave up a car that was more profit for us than this to get that car. I got the rebate for the financing and stuff, and really I've already done everything I can. There's nothing. So he brings out the consumer report thing, this. I said, sir, there is no room here. I already told you. I've done everything I could for your daughter, and I think this is the car she wants, and the deal's done now. He says, well, no. If you're not going to give me a break on her, I'm not going to let her take it. I says, well, if you want to do that to your daughter, you can. Then he started becoming a little belligerent. I says, you get to a point right now where you lose the privilege of buying a vehicle from us. He says, lose the privilege? I said, yes, sir. I can sell the car to whoever I want. It's not like you are. If you want to run it for your daughter, then go ahead. But we're not going to go anywhere. And I don't want to argue with you, but this is the deal that she agreed on. It's a good deal for her. And if you go to any other dealership to find the same vehicle, they'll tell you that I'm giving you a good price on it. He says, well, you don't have to say that I'm going to lose the privilege of buying a car from you. I says, if you keep doing that, you will. So then the daughter got all upset, and she went outside, and she was outside crying, and I said to him, sir, your daughter's out there crying, you over here arguing with me. Go console her instead. So he's left, he's all upset. And they actually drove, he drove off. And,
Really?
yeah. So then half an hour later, he drives by and says, okay, sir, your name is Tony, right? I says, yeah. He goes, I need to apologize to you because I was a turkey. I says, a little bit.
A little bit.
And he says, and you're right, that's the car she wants, and she told me all the stuff you did for her, and I want her to have it, so let's go through with it. I said, well, good, thank you.
Is there a little piece of you that would love to have said, I'm sorry, I just sold
it? No, because I wanted her to have the car. I mean, I I actually went out of my way to help her because she's there with nobody, she's by herself at college. Yeah. I did the right thing, but then he was being a turkey, so I says, okay.
I don't remember you working at Marlboro Ford. I remember your dealership up in Leominster, the old JC Ford dealership.
So what happened was I went to Marlboro Subaru first.
Oh, okay.
I was a manager at the Gathering in Marlboro. Real
What was
nice
it
restaurant.
called?
The Gathering. It was
Huh.
right on Route 20 in Lake Williams. So it was a real nice restaurant.
It's still a restaurant. It just changes hands. So I don't know why that place can't flourish. It's a great location, good parking. That's always the problem.
Yeah.
And a lake view. And they just seem to I think it's called I don't know what it is, Bolton Street something now.
So the guys that worked at Subaru, the salesman, on Fridays they'd come over there to have a few beers after work.
Yeah.
But the owner of the dealership never gave them their checks until after the bank was closed, so they couldn't leave to go to the bank. So they asked me if I could cash the checks, and because they were there all the time and I knew who they were, I said sure. So when we changed we changed the register at 5 o'clock from the day shift to the night shift. I had all kinds of cash, so I'd cash the checks. And they were making more money than I was. I was running this restaurant, and they're selling cars, making a lot more money than I was.
Oh yeah.
So one day, one of the guys came over and says, "Hey man, you speak Portuguese?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "There's a lot of Portuguese people around here in Hudson stuff." So yeah, I says, "You want to come sell cars with us?" I said, "I don't know, something. I think I'm a restaurant manager." He goes, "Well, come down. We have a new manager, sales manager that was a national training director for Toyota, and then he's retired, and he's driving his wife crazy. So he came to work for us. So come meet him." I said, "All right." So I went over and met the guy, and he started talking. I really liked him. And he says, "Listen, I teach you a 10-step system to selling cars. If you do the 10 steps, you're gonna sell easily 3 out of 10 people you talk to, maybe more if you have a nice personality and stuff. You can make some good money here." I says, "Well, I know these guys make good money because I cash the checks." He says, "Huh?" So I told him the story. Anyway, long story short, I went in there and I listened to this guy and I believed everything he said. There's like a 10-step system, and I followed it. And the first 7 months in a row, I was a top salesman.
Wow.
And those guys had all been there for years. I didn't know anything more about cars or anything more about tricks or nothing. I like people, so you know how I am. I like people, and I just talked to them, find out what they needed. I helped them.
And you followed a system.
I followed the system, and then 7 months in a row. The eighth month, I didn't hit. Wasn't number one number. And 2 months in a row, I didn't hit. So Everett, the guy that was my manager, says, "Hey, so what's going on with you?" I says, "Well, these people coming in, they have upside down on the trade. They owe too much on the trade, and the credit stinks." He says, "That's not what's going on. You're not doing the 10 steps anymore. You're taking shortcuts because now you think you're really good.
Mm-hmm.
Just go back to the 10 steps. You'll get back on track again." So sure enough, I did it for 2 months in a row. I was sales manager again, salesman of the month again. So then
Amazing.
there was a little store in Hudson, a Ford store, that real small thing, and they sold it. So the guy bought it, and he moved the store from location to Marlboro, across the street from the Subaru thing. And the most that the store in Hudson sold was 102 cars a year. That was the best year. So then when they opened up the Ford, they had a sales manager that didn't work out. So the owner says to me, "Hey, Tony, why don't you go over there and see Dick White?" We call him Rooster. He was the manager of the Ford store. "But I want you to be the sales manager. Go tell him I just told you that." So I went over and says, "Hey, what are you doing?" He says, "John wants me to be the sales manager." He goes, "Sales manager? What's your experience?" I said, "Well, I told him I was there 7 months. I was salesman of the month 7 months in a row. Then 2 more months after that, after I got back on track, 10 step system." He says, "Well, I don't know. I think I need an experienced guy." I says, "Well, John told me to come over here and be a sales manager." So then one of the guys there was dealing with a guy that wanted to buy a truck without a body, without a bed. He just wanted like what they call it, a chassis only.
Yeah.
And the guy was saying that he wanted a creeper gear with a 1.7. He had all this technical stuff that he wanted, but the salesman didn't know what the heck he was talking about. So Dick White, the Rooster, says, "Hey, Cabral, you want to be the sales manager? Go help this guy." So I went out there, and the guy, like I don't know, construction guy, muscular guy stuff, says, "Hey," he says, "Well, my name is Tony. I'm the new sales manager here, and I want to see if I can help out." He goes, "Well, if you're going to be like this guy, he doesn't know shit about trucks." He says, "You know anything about trucks?" So I went, and I spit. I says, "I used to have a truck, right?" I said, "But to be honest with you, the best way to do this is to go over there and get the book of the specs. How soon you need something? You need it like right away, or can you wait 7 or 8 weeks?" He goes, "To get the right truck, I can wait 7 or 8 weeks. I'm just going to put a body on it, but I want it to be without the body, or whatever you call that thing." So I went over to the book, found out the book and how to order it, and all the stuff that was there, all the options. I said, okay, so here's the truck. The base of the price is this. Then everything that you add. So here's what I'll do. I'll price it out for you. You give me $1,000 deposit. I'm only gonna make $1,000 profit on this truck, which I can make a lot more, but we're only gonna make a $1,000 profit. We're gonna order it. You're gonna have it in 7 weeks. He goes, how's that? He says, that's exactly what I wanted. So he spec'd the truck out the way he wanted. Boom. So then the wife called me up and says, all right, Tony, I saw what you just did there. For a guy with no experience, you handled yourself pretty well. You'll be my sales manager. I can teach you some stuff though, because he had a system that he worked on the floor. So the first month I was there as a sales manager, we sold over 100 cars.
In a month.
In a month, yeah. And before that, the other guy in Hudson, we did 102 cars the whole year. So then I bought a house in Leominster. I was traveling back and forth, and there was a Ford dealership in Leominster, right? And he was complaining because he didn't have a sales manager to the Ford rep, and the guy says, hey, there's a guy that lives in Leominster that drives every day to Marlboro. He's a sales manager down there. He just broke a record for that dealership his first month there. You know, and he's going around. So the guy called me up and says, hey, Tony, I want to do a trade with you. Do you have a such, like you want to do a trade with cars? Like sometimes if you don't have the inventory you want, somebody else says you can do a trade. So then 3 times that week, he asked me to call me up to do a trade. I says, man, how many vehicles do you need from me? He says, no, really, to be honest with you, I just want to talk to you. I says, why? He says, well, I heard you're doing a good job down there and you live in Leominster. I'm looking for a sales manager. He says, we get together and talk. I says, well, Thursday's my day off. He says, all right, come on over. I want to talk to you. So I went over to talk to him, and then next thing you know, I got a new job in Leominster that paid me more money anyway, and that's how it worked.
This is at Jim Sapola, right?
Yeah, Sapola Ford. Yeah, Jim Sapola Ford. Yeah.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
I remember visiting you at that store, which feels like 10 years ago. It was the 80s. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And that all happened because I'm going to drive a Ford Thunderbird today in about a half an hour.
Oh, good.
My dream car.
So does it look like the old Thunderbird, or?
Yeah, Google search. It's just 02 Ford Thunderbird. They didn't copy it, but they kind of paid tribute to it, and it's a cleaner, smoother look. I love this thing, and very few people do. Obviously, if people loved it, they would have continued to make it. But 02 to 05, and 05 was the 50th anniversary. So I'll let you know next week.
So 05 was the 50th anniversary?
That's why I asked. Yeah, so 55 was the incarnation of the T-Bird. So maybe were you talking about a Mustang or a T-Bird?
Thunderbird.
No, it was. All right. So that's the case. 80 would have been 25th anniversary. I don't know what year you were doing, but
I think it was the 35th anniversary, something like that.
Could be.
Anyway.
It's just so funny. Just going through Facebook, and here comes this car for sale in my town. Like, oh my God, I got to go look at this. So that's my next stop.
One time I had a guy that was negotiating a deal over there at the superstore, and he thought he was really funny, right? So I had to go take his vehicle for a ride to evaluate it as far as how much the car would be worth on a trade. Because he was always trying to be funny, he was trying to outdo me on funny. So the salesman and I went up for a ride on the car, and we came back. And when I was coming back to the dealership, I put the flashers on, and I was driving about 5 miles an hour, on the side of the road with the flashers on. I come out, and he goes, hey, what's going on? I says, man, you need brakes, man. These brakes are not good. He says, no, I know. I already got well, that's what it was. The salesman opened up the glove compartment, which he shouldn't be doing, but he saw a quote from a dealership, from a repair place for new brakes. So then I hit the flashers, and I was going real slow. I says, your brakes need to be taken care of, man. Something's not right. He says, yeah, I know. I already got a quote. I'm going to be doing it. I says, okay, well, look, if you buy a car today from us, you can drive the new car home. But if you don't, I'm going to let you take one of my rentals, because you shouldn't be driving this, and leave the car here tomorrow, and I'll have the mechanics look at it. But I was saying that mostly to just get him to do the thing, right? He says, well, man, what's going on and on. But that's what I said, listen, the breaks aren't that bad yet. I was just doing that because you're trying to be funny, so I wanted to get you back. He goes, oh, okay. So you can drive the car. I'm just kidding.
Oh, that's all right.
uh,
Mm.
funny stuff, huh?
Well, here's a good story to wrap up our conversation this morning. I got tickets on Thursday morning for Saturday, September 3rd, which is the Saturday of Labor Day weekend, and going to see our boys Extreme up at the Hampton Beach Casino Ballroom.
I guess the following week they're going to be at the Indian something.
Actually, it's the night before the Indian Ranch down in Webster on Friday night, Hampton Beach on Saturday night.
What's that Indian what?
Indian Ranch. It's a small little outdoor venue on Webster Lake. It's a cool spot. I've heard about it for decades. I finally went 2 years ago for the first time, and it's a great little place. But the reason we chose Hampton Beach, so Lynn and I have some really cool friends of ours, Dave and Pam, and they live in New Hampshire, Derry, New Hampshire. And we met them. This is hysterical. Oh my God. So I take Lynn to see Get the Let Out at Hampton Beach Casino Bar. She's going to love this. And I remember thinking, where are we going to stand? Like, I don't need to be the guy up front with my elbows on the stage. I don't need to be that close. But the spectacular Lynn is, one of these days she's going to hit 5 feet, but she's not quite there yet. And so I'm thinking, where are we going to stand that she can see? And so we kind of get in a little bit early, and we end up standing right next to the sound guy. He has like a whole little thing around him, and there's a little like the fencing they do. And there was a little spot like 4 feet by 4 feet, and we just kind of stood there next to the sound guy, right straight onto the stage. I'm like, this is going to work. And we get talking to this couple next to us, and the first thing I notice is that this couple, Pam, is the same height as Lynn. And so her husband, Dave, comments, he's like, we always stand right here because she can. So here we are, and we start talking. And literally the next Saturday, we were doing a side yard gig. And Lynn's like, oh, Michael plays in a band, and we're doing a side yard. And they're like, oh, we would totally come to that. But he's a wedding DJ. He's like, I got a gig next Saturday. I got to do spin tunes at a wedding. So I said, it's all technology. I said, well, text me your mailing address. I'll mail you a CD. So he did, and then I did. And then the following weekend, actually it was the day of the side yard gig, I'm setting up my drums, and I get a picture text from Dave with he and Pam holding the CD in this parking lot of this diner they were going to for breakfast. I'm like, oh, these guys are a riot. Wow. And so then we went and met them for breakfast. And then they came to a side yard gig later on in the summer, and we just hit it off as friends. It's awesome. And I always refer to people as like, oh, that's our friends from Get the Let Out. So I texted him. I'm like, hey, are you guys Extreme fans? And here's what I'm thinking. And he said, we were just talking about that. So I just grabbed tickets for the four of us for that night. And as much as I love Webster Lake and Indian Ranch, I think I'd rather see them at the Hampton Beach. It's just what a cool spot. So that's Saturday night of Labor Day weekend with our buddies Dave and Pam. It should be fun.
So I joined this thing on Facebook, joined a group that Extreme Cast or something. So
I'm on a couple of those too.
It's amazing how many people are so upset that Extreme hasn't released a new album yet.
I know.
It's like crazy, wow.
And I think a lot of people are hoping to hear new music on this tour, which would be cool. But I don't know. I love everything they've done. If they just want to go play the hits for me, I'm good with it. Like, that's their call, you know?
Yeah.
But I do remember, I think, talking to you, that they kind of didn't want to release that until they could tour that. So now they got tour dates, so we're talking, it's a few months out, April, right? So March, April, May, June, July. I mean, that's 5 months from now. They could drop this week, and then they do all new stuff on the tour. Not all new, because...
Plus, I think they used to be with Atlantic Records. Is that what it was?
Used to be what?
With Atlantic Records or something?
Oh, I don't know.
But now, Nuno has his own...
That's true.
His own label, whatever.
Yep.
So I don't know if that's the reason why. Maybe it's probably a big investment to put all those CDs out and stuff like that. I don't know.
Maybe they drop them before the tour. Maybe they don't. Maybe it never happens. But I'll go love everything they do live. And
I know.
I gotta shoot Kevin a text and say, I just got tickets. See you up there. Fun.
Crazy.
So I'm excited about that. The concert season's beginning. We got a bunch of stuff going on.
So today, no lunch for your nephew and niece. Just looking at a car.
Next week. That's next Friday night.
Okay.
In 2 weeks.
Cool.
But thanks for remembering that. Yep.
So today, I ran out of coffee, but thank God I have this nice clear vodka.
Leftover vodka from last night.
Yeah, because when you're doing the Zoom meetings, you have to have something to drink. But people, like this looks like it's water.
Well, the average person watching this doesn't know what time it is, but I should let them know it's not even 11 o'clock in the morning yet. So,
yeah.
At least that's East Coast time in Massachusetts. I'm not sure what your time is in Florida, but 10:55 here.
Well, that's funny. When I talk to my mother, she always looks at the clock and says, "Well, right now it's 10:15."
What time is it? What time is it for you?
She thinks I'm in a different time zone or something.
Right now it's 10:15. Yeah, I know. Snark.
You know what that is?
No.
It's one of those electronic tuners that you put on your guitar.
Oh.
And then you click on a string and it tells you you can, tweak it. It's really good. But years ago, when I first started playing, I had to ask my cousin on the keyboard. Says, "Hey, hit me an E." So he give me an E on the keyboard, whatever. And I tuned my string to that, and I tuned the rest of the strings from that string. And now we have these little electronic things. You just look at it. And some of these guys have guitars with on the tuners. There's like a little mechanism there, so they just press the key that they want, or the tuning that they want, like center tuning, and you strum it, and when it starts loosening and tightening the string, I'm like, wow.
It's funny you say that. Our last side yard gig this year was October 23rd, which was a Saturday. I think you came to the one before that. But Joe was in town, so I don't think Joe was there when you were there, was he?
No.
So, okay, so this was, and Dave and Pam, I forget which one they came to too, but after, because we move everything in and then down the bulkhead into my basement where we rehearsed, and Barry, the bass player, was looking for his electronic tuner. And so we're out there at night, that night of the gig, because we finished at 6 or 7. Of course, by that time it gets dark early, it's late October. We're out there with flashlights going through the grass trying to find his tuner in October. So we forgot about it. Last week in rehearsal, he reaches in the very bottom of his cushiony bass guitar bag and pulls out the tuner. He's like, "Look what just came out of my bag. This is the tuner I thought I lost." And so when he brought it out, I told him the story, your story, about jamming in that room with 5 guys and Mr. Betancourt, who walked in and scribbed one of your tuning pages and just tried this, and okay. And I'm like, imagine this guy hearing one string with 5. I think I got the story right.
Yeah, there's 5 instruments. We're all playing in the middle of a song, playing. There's 5 instruments, 2 guitars, a bass, a keyboard, and a drum. And he walks in, and with all that noise, he hears that one of my strings on the guitar was needed a little bit of a tweaking. So he walks up to me and just tweaks it just a little bit, and he goes, like, "What the heck? How did he hear that?
That's amazing. That's crazy.
Isn't it? Wow.
Oh my goodness. All right, let's wrap this baby up. I think we're at our time limit. Our fans are rampant and wonderfully committed to us, but we don't want to make it too long.
They like it if we keep it under an hour.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go drive a car and see what happens, and then spread some dirt. Sounds like a nice day. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, if it's right, I hope you go for it. If it's right, I hope you go for it.
Well, as we said, it's got to check all the boxes.
Would that be an extra car for you, or just an additional one, or a replacement?
It'd be an additional one. Got to check a lot of boxes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Happy Easter, my friend. Happy Easter to you.
Happy Easter.
Oh, I was late on that.
There we go. Perfect. But you're the best, man.
I will see you soon, pal.
All right, buddy.
Take care.
Okay. See ya.